Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If you would please stand and welcome our graduates today. you would please, gentlemen, if you please remove your ball caps as we recite together the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. You may be seated.
Welcome to ATDM, the new front line for America's defense manufacturing industry. ATDM stands for Accelerated Training in Defense Manufacturing, and we can take you from zero to career in just 4 months. Do you love working with your hands and working with metal? Then welding might be right for you. Woodworking to inspect and measure parts to ensure quality and safety sound rewarding. Then quality control inspection, also known as metrology, may be the perfect fit for you. Does working in our state-of-the-art CNC machining lab sound exciting? Or you could lean into the technology of the future in our additive manufacturing lab. If you're someone who likes analyzing results and problem solving, then non-destructive testing could be the perfect fit for you. What makes our program so special is not just the quality of the facilities and the instructors, it is the speed to career. We prepare you to enter the workforce in just 4 months with no prior experience required. To learn more, visit us online at atdm.org.
There are giants among us. They are the men and women building our Navy's next generation submarines. They are giants in what they do because they work in a place where they can grow, where they can learn the skills to build careers as powerful as the beasts they forge. We build giants because it takes one to build one.
My name is Telly Tucker. I have the privilege and honor of serving as the president here at the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research. Welcome. Welcome to IALR and welcome to Danville. What an exciting day it is for the giants that sit in front of us. That first sizzle video probably seems like a distant memory for some of you when you first learned about the program. But we show it as a reminder of where you've come from and what you've accomplished over the last 4 months. And similarly to the friends and family that have come here to support you today, there's opportunity for others. And we certainly need as many as we can to come and serve in this career technical education field, particularly in support of our defense industrial base. Let me start my remarks this morning by sharing a little bit about the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research and our mission, which is around economic transformation. You see, this region has a history of manufacturing. It's in the DNA of the people who are accustomed to working 3 shifts a day, kind of 7-day-a-week operations that never really shut down, and people who take pride in making things with their hands and oftentimes touch every facet of life that we enjoy today. And this region went through an economic downturn where many of the legacy industries went to lower cost labor markets. And this region decided to reinvest its own dollars, some 80 million of its own dollars, into standing up incredible world-class workforce development to support manufacturing and engineering careers. And that investment got the attention of the United States Department of Defense and the Navy, who then partnered with us on building this prototype program, the Accelerated Training in Defense Manufacturing Program. So not only do we get to help change lives and reshape a local economy, we get to train young people and more seasoned people for careers in manufacturing and engineering. And the best part of all is we get to do that in partnership with our U.S. Navy and our Department of Defense to support the freedoms that we all enjoy in this country. We couldn't do anything that we do without partnerships. It's a major part of what we do here, and I want to recognize a number of our partners. If we have any of our, first I'll recognize our city of Danville, if we have any city council members here, or if we have any Pennsylvania County Board of Supervisors members here, would you just raise your hand? If not, I want you to know that the park that we in, the 300 plus acre park that this facility is located in, um, is owned by the city of Danville and Pennsylvania County, and in partnership with ILR, the beautiful facility that you trained in sits on land that was purchased and invested by the locality. Similarly, I want to recognize our partners with the Navy. I think we have Pauline Sumner and Lindsay Klein here today that are with the MIB office. Thank you for being here, for your continued partnership. You came all the way from Alabama. Thank you for being here. Um, I also want to recognize the Spectrum Group. Kent Whalen is here. The Spectrum Group are strategic advisors to the ATDM program and partners since the program's inception. Um, Lastly, I think we may have Assistant City Manager Earl Reynolds here today. Thank you for being here, sir, and supporting the students today. You'll get to hear about the industry partners as well. They are critical partners that help us deliver the value proposition in terms of the curriculum and the training and the skills that are learned here. Because those industry partners are the ones that are hiring our students and ultimately the ones that are producing and manufacturing the goods that support our defense industrial base. So all these things are working together for the good of these students, these graduates here today that are going on to continue to become giants, because the incredible investment that they've made in themselves may in fact save one of our lives or our children's or our grandchildren's lives one day. The parts that you have learned to make and that you will be making and helping build submarines and surface ships and munitions and all those other things that will be made in the defense industrial base truly do make a difference in this country. So with that being said, I want to thank you for being here today. It's my privilege and honor to introduce our Executive Vice President for Manufacturing Advancement, Jason Wells.
Thank you, President Tucker. It's an honor to stand up here today and celebrate this great occasion. As President Tucker indicated, my name is Jason Wells. I am the Executive Vice President for Manufacturing Advancement. Our department is responsible to serve our nation through the Accelerated Training and Defense Manufacturing Program, and it is an honor for all of us. I'm a bit of a history buff, so you're gonna have to bear with me. So on this day in 1938, a small Japanese company called Nakajima Aircraft completed the first Ki-43 fighter. It was an engineering and manufacturing leap forward. It was light, agile, long range, and capable of changing the course of early air battles in World War II. That same company later went on to become what we know today as Subaru. So why do I begin with that story? It frames a context because it reminds us that manufacturing shapes outcomes and literally shapes the world. It's imperative to our national defense, our security, our global standing, and as President Tucker indicated, the safety of the people we love. When this team of this great group of people sitting in front of me arrived here on campus, we talked to them about this not just being a career move, but being an investment in the future security of this nation. Now, I know when I say that, how that sounds a bit dramatic, but the truth of the matter is history teaches us this over and over again, how the skilled trades change outcomes. If you don't believe me, just watch a historical movie. Dunkirk, 338,000 Allied soldiers saved by the tens of thousands of shipbuilders, mechanics, welders, and craftsmen that made little ships and repaired little ships to save those soldiers. Apollo 13, the one oxygen tank that did not explode, that got those astronauts back to Earth safely, was because of a welder that insisted on quality and craft on that second oxygen tank. The Chilean mine rescue, 33 miners saved thanks to machinists, fabricators, and welders that created the Phoenix capsule that carried the miners to safety. These were all calls of action made possible by skilled tradespeople. ATDM is your call to action. As you saw in the videos that we just played, this program is directly tied to a mission. Our country needs to build two Virginia class and one Columbia class submarine every single year. Currently, we're not on pace to meet that demand because the mission is waiting for this group of people and the ones that will follow. These folks represent our essential workforce. Every ship, every vehicle, every piece of equipment that protects our armed forces is built by people like these, skilled trades professionals. I started my career over 35 years ago as one of those people, and it remains one of my proudest accomplishments. I didn't just study work, I actually made things. I made things with my heart, with my head, and with my hands, because that's what tradespeople do. We bring motion to knowledge. We take problems that exist in theory and figure them out in reality. We take learning from just letting it be knowledge and we turn it into action. These past 16 weeks have not been easy for these students. Anyone who's been through this program, they know that. We've watched them grow, they've changed, they've proven something to themselves. But as the saying goes, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Today is a milestone, not a finish line. The real challenge is still ahead. Their training wheels come off and the responsibility becomes a reality. And I don't say that to stress you. I say that to strengthen you. Stress is often fear about the unknown or what might be difficult. But anything worth mastering is always going to be difficult. Reframe that narrative and use that stress as inspiration. Because unlike most people in your trade, you have a heck of a head start. You have a heck of a beginning in your particular field. You're stepping out of a world-class training program. You're stepping out of an experience that's unlike any other in this entire nation. And you were taught by instructors that cared about your success from day one. You've been given an advantage because we believe in you and because this mission needs you. Not everyone made it to this moment. Not everyone gets across the finish line. Every cohort, when we do orientation, I always challenge them, like, this is going to be the first cohort that gets every single student across the finish line. And it hasn't happened yet, unfortunately. But this group right here in front of me, they did it. So celebrate that, own that. As you do celebrate and own that, move forward with confidence because know you are definitely ready. So now it's your time to go change the world by changing your world. And that's really at the end of the day what we do. We change each individual, but as a combined group, you will change the world. You will have an impact on the world. Never doubt the power of one individual to influence many through consistent actions. So I say to you, we are very proud of you. We are very confident and we believe in you. It was an honor to host you here on our campus. It was an honor to have you in our community. One of the things we know that every cohort teaches us the same truth. Your potential is within your control. Over the last 16 weeks, we watched you plant incredible seeds to grow into that potential. So in the words of Walt Disney, the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. So after today, you'll begin doing. So good luck and congratulations once again. So one of my tasks today is the honor of introducing our speakers. And I'll start with our guest speaker, Admiral James G. Fogo. He is a retired U.S. Admiral and currently the Dean for the Center for Maritime Strategy. He is a 1981 graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy. Admiral Fogo is also an Olmsted Scholar and a Moreau Scholar, earning a Master of Public Administration at Harvard University and a higher diploma, Advanced Studies Diploma in Defense and Strategic Studies from the University of Strasbourg, France. He commanded the attack submarine USS Oklahoma City in 1998 and was awarded the Submarine Squadron 8 Battle Efficiency E Award and the Admiral Byrd Fleet Trophy for being the most improved ship in the Atlantic Fleet. Following command of the USS Oklahoma City, He would go on to command 8 more times, to include Submarine Squadron 6 in Norfolk, Virginia, Submarine Group 8, Allied Submarine South, the U.S. 6th Fleet, Allied Striking and Support Forces NATO, Naval Forces Europe, Naval Forces Africa, and Allied Joint Forces Command NATO, all headquartered in Naples, Italy. During these command tours, he participated in combat operations as the operations officer for Joint Task Force Odyssey Dawn in Libya in 2011, and Commander Naval Forces Europe for strike operations against Syrian chemical weapon sites in April 2018. In November 2021, Admiral Fogo was named to the American Academy of Diplomacy as one of the handful of retired flag officers who serve alongside more than 200 retired ambassadors with the common goal of enhancing American diplomacy around the globe. Admiral Fogo is a distinguished fellow of the Center of European Policy Analysis and a distinguished fellow of the Council on Competitiveness. He is a member of the board of directors for Olmsted Foundation and the Naval Historical Foundation. He occupies a seat on the editorial board of the Marine Corps University in Quantico, Virginia. He is also a member of the Council of Foreign Relations and the Explorers Club of New York. Admiral Fogo sits on the Senior Military Advisories Group at the United States Institute of Peace. His awards include the Distinguished Service Medal, Defense Superior Service Medal, Legion of Merit, and NATO Meritorious Service Medal. In addition, he is a recipient of the French Knight of the National Order of Merit and the Legion of Honor, the Cross of St. George, Portugal, the White Cross of the Naval Order of Spanish Armada, the Meritorious Service Cross from the Governor General of Canada, the rank of Commandantor from the President of Italy, foreign language, and Knight of the Grand Cross of Kingdom of Two Sicilies. So obviously a very busy guy, so we're very honored to have him here. Please welcome Admiral Fogo. Thank you so very much.
Joey, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And Jason, thanks for that gracious and very long introduction. I got to tell my staff to shorten that up. You served in the United States Navy is good enough for me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing me to speak to you today. I am excited to share insights about a remarkable opportunity in the manufacturing and technical fields. This is an opportunity that not only offers rewarding careers, but also helps meet the growing demand for skilled professionals in the submarine industrial base that Telly talked about and Jason talked about this morning. I made the trip down this morning, left my house about 4:45 to come to be with you today, where I am normally the Dean of the Center for Maritime Strategy of the Navy League in the United States, headquartered in Arlington, Virginia. And so I came down here because I'm passionate about the work that President Telly Tucker is accomplishing at the Institute of Advanced Learning and Research and ATDM every day, along with his sidekick, Mr. Jason Wells. So this is a real manufacturing model that's sorely needed in the United States. My Center for Maritime Strategy chronicled this need in our new book, which is called Returning from Ebb Tide. So this book came out in April at Sierra Space. If you're interested, it's available for free online. Just type in Returning from Ebb Tide and you'll get a free PDF download. It was published by Marine Corps University, where I'm on the editorial board, as you heard. And it talks about the atrophy of the American shipbuilding industry. In World War II, we had 55 shipyards at the end of the war. When President Reagan came in with Defense Minister Weinberger, we had 19. And today we have 7 prime yards in the United States. It's not enough. And as we downsize those yards, we shed our most precious commodity, the workers and the manufacturers in those yards. And so we're trying to catch up today. I'm also grateful to the state of Virginia, my state since 1968, and I'm a taxpayer in this state since about 1974, when I had my first job at the age of 14 at Fisher's Hardware up in Springfield, Virginia. So I love the state of Virginia, and I love the industry partners that support this facility: Blue Forge Alliance, the Austell Corporation, the Spectrum Group, and the Phillips Corporation. I'm grateful to each and every one of you, the students and the graduates today, for the skill sets you have mastered and the service you are about to bring to bear in support of our submarine and maritime industrial base. So congratulations are in order, but we're going to give you a hand at the end. Now, I spent 40 years on active duty, 44 if you count the U.S. Naval Academy, because that's where I got my first active duty ID card in 1977. And I became a submarine officer. And I did that all my life. Now, they call us the silent service because under the sea stealth and quieting of these magnificent submarines, you saw the video of one earlier, is a matter of survival. You live and die by noise underwater. The enemy hears you, it's like a knife fight. First guy that hears the other guy gets a shot with a torpedo, and it's all over. So maintaining this survivability is, in part, the responsibility of the sailors on board the submarine, but equally the responsibility of people like you here in the front several rows. Because you're going to build, maintain, and repair these boats for a 30, notionally, which means nominally, a 30-year life cycle, but we've pushed some of our Trident submarines to 40 years as we wait for Columbia because we're behind schedule. So I think you, the graduates today, represent the silent servants of my silent service. And for that, young ladies and gentlemen, I am forever grateful. Now let's examine how you got here today. Let's start by looking at the broad picture. Since its inception in June 2021, the Accelerated Targeted Defense Manufacturing, or we'll call it ATDM, program has proudly supported multiple cohorts of students with a total graduation rate of about 80%. As Jason said, you want to get to 100%, but the fact that 80% graduated means that you have maintained a very high quality control, and some folks just didn't make it. This demonstrates not only the effectiveness of the training program, but the commitment of both students and instructors here. I was here for Industry Day last year. I spent several hours in the facility, and I was just blown away. In the year 2025 alone, over 600 individuals have graduated from ATDM programs. As you seek to develop skills in some of the most vital areas of manufacturing and technical work, you're about to embark on a new adventure. Now, these sectors are experiencing a significant boom, with industries demanding highly trained professionals who can operate advanced equipment, uphold safety standards, and innovate within their fields. The Academy of Manufacturing here offers 5 specialized programs, I think 3 of which are represented in this cover today: additive manufacturing, CNC machining, non-destructive testing, quality assurance, and quality control, and welding. Each of these tracks is designed to equip you students with hands-on experience and industry-recognized credentials needed to excel in today's competitive market. Why is that important? Well, I'm going to tell you based on my experience as a naval officer for over 40 years. But first, I got to give you a little bit of background on me. You heard a lot of stuff in the bio, but you haven't really heard about me going to sea on submarines. So you see, I'm a cold warrior. That means something to your moms and dads and your grandparents out there. I interviewed with Admiral Hyman G. Rickover in the Naval Nuclear Propulsion Program in 1980. I graduated in 81. I went in the year before to see Admiral Rickover. Admiral Rickover is an icon of American history. He served this nation in uniform for 60 years. 60 years. For 30 of those years, he was an admiral, half of his career. That pales in comparison to my 40-year career, 11 years of which I served as a flag officer. Admiral Rickover was disadvantaged when he grew up. He was born in Makow, Poland in 1900. He was of Jewish descent. So when he was just 6 years old, he immigrated to the United States with his family to escape the Russian pogroms. His father, Abraham Rickover, supported the family as a tailor in Chicago, and his mom stayed home and ran the household. Admiral Rickover lived the American dream. He got into the United States Naval Academy in 1922. He graduated and later earned a Master of Science in Electrical Engineering from Columbia University. He served for over 63 years in the U.S. Navy, was promoted to flag rank in 1953, 6 years before I was born, and he remained an admiral for almost 30 years until 1982, the year after I left the academy. I was the second to last class to interview with him. That, ladies and gents, is unprecedented. He received 2 Congressional Gold Medals and was the longest serving U.S. military officer, not just in the Navy, but in the history of our nation. Admiral Rickover touched many lives during his 60-year career, including those of future presidents of the United States like Jimmy Carter. As you know, President Carter passed away earlier this year at the age of 100. I probably would not have attended the Naval Academy if it were not for President Carter. So I want to tell you a sea story about the Rickover-Carter relationship. My story with Carter was I didn't have any connections. I wasn't even an American yet. President Carter was elected, and I wrote him a letter, and the White House answered, and they helped me get into the U.S. Naval Academy. And for that, I'll never forget President Carter. So this story starts in 1975 when I was entering my senior year at Lake Braddock Secondary School in Northern Virginia. And I decided I wanted to go to the United States Naval Academy. I had a thirst for anything and everything that was written about it. And that year, 76, was an election year. And this relatively unknown peanut farmer from Plains, Georgia, who was governor of the great state of Georgia, was running for president. His name, Jimmy Carter. He wrote a book to launch his campaign. I was struck by the title as a senior in high school. Why not the best? Question mark. So I bought a copy of the book and I read it cover to cover. This is it, a little paperback. As most of you know, despite the fact that this was Jimmy Carter's Launch My Campaign for Presidency book, the main premise of the book was based on Lieutenant Junior Grade Carter's interview with Admiral Rickover for the nuclear propulsion program. Having graduated in the class of 1946, just after World War II, and they pushed him out early, he served in the fleet on board a battleship called USS Wyoming. Carter was then identified as a promising officer and encouraged to apply for the nuclear propulsion program, brand new program for the submarine force. He interviewed with then Captain Rickover. Rickover wasn't an admiral yet in 1952. Jimmy Carter's interview was a little different than my interview with 4-star Admiral Rickover 29 years later. In 1952, Rickover let Carter pick the subjects about which he knew most. Current events, and these are the ones Carter picked, chronicled in the book. Current events, seamanship, music, literature, naval tactics, electronics, and gunnery. So Rickover picked up the list, looked at it, and started asking questions of increasing difficulty on all these subjects. By Carter's own admission, Captain Rickover quickly proved that Jimmy Carter really didn't know anything about any of these subjects. Quite frankly, folks, I had a similar experience with Admiral Rickover in my interview. At this point, Carter was becoming very uncomfortable. He said Rickover looked right into his eyes and never smiled. I was there. I can attest to that too. Carter was saturated with cold sweat. Finally, Rickover asked Carter one last question, one that he could actually answer. Rickover said, "How did you stand in your class at the United States Naval Academy?" Carter, having completed 2 years at Georgia Tech before he entered the Naval Academy as a plebe, thought, I'm all set. Sir, I was 59th in a class of 820. Carter sat back and crossed his arms, waiting for Rickover to say, well done, son. Guess what? That well done didn't come. Instead, Rickover asked the next question. Did you do your best? Impulsively, Carter's tongue began to engage and his brain took over. Just remember, Jimmy, who you're talking to. This guy's the most powerful guy in the future nuclear Navy of the United States. So he swallowed and he said, No, sir. I did not always do my best. Rickover maintained the cold gaze in Jimmy Carter's eyes for a long time, deafening silence. And then Rickover flipped his chair 180 degrees away from Carter and terminated the interview with one last question in a very loud voice. Why not? And that was it. Carter sat there for a moment, stunned and shaken, slowly walked out of the room defeated. Perhaps it was due to his stellar record or his candor or his humility. I don't know. But in the final analysis, Jimmy Carter was selected by Captain Rickover for the nuclear power program. By his own admission, the Rickover interview and that fateful question was a defining moment in Lieutenant J.G. Carter's life, so much so that he made it the topic or the title of his book when he ran for president. Why not the best? So, graduates, I think you know what question I'm going to ask you. While you were here, did you do your best? You don't have to answer it for me. Answer it for yourself. Because you're about to embark on a career where the highest standards of excellence are the norm, whether it be in the welding shop, on the waterfront, during non-destructive testing, and certification of materials, assessing a sub-safe part for quality assurance standards in a boat that's going to go down to extreme pressures in the oceans of the world. The continuity of operations of our fleet and the safety of our most precious commodity, our American sailors, will soon be in your hands. So if the answer to my question is yes, you did your best, good on you. If the answer to my question is no, I did not do my best, then I think you know what to do. Like President Carter, I'm counting on you doing it. Okay, so let's shift gears here. Talk a little bit about submarines you're going to build. What's it like to go to sea for 6 months at a time, sometimes extended beyond that, with 130 shipmates? All my shipmates on all the ships that I served on were men. We now have integrated women, thankfully, in the submarine force, and they do much better than the guys in nuclear power school. But I can tell you, I was there with 130 smelly guys for 6 months at a time in a tube that is my first boat, 293 feet long, 33 feet in diameter, with a height of 55 feet, but that's just because the sail goes 25 feet above that circular hull. It's made of HY80. You guys probably know a little bit about HY80 because you were taught here about it, especially if you're machining or 3D printing. HY80 stands for HY, high yield strength, metal alloy, rated to withstand 80,000 pounds per square inch of pressure. Because when those boats go deep, they're under one heck of a lot of pressure. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is my first submarine, the USS Sea Devil, SSN 664. The commanding officer, Commander Rich Meese, eventually retired as a 4-star admiral after serving as the commander of Strategic Command, STRATCOM, with all the nuclear missiles and the deterrence for this nation, and commander of the United States Submarine Force Atlantic. Admiral Meese was my mentor back then, and he's my mentor still in retirement today. I retired as a 4-star. We go to breakfast about once a quarter up in Washington, and I still call him sir. He's a great guy. He ran a great ship, and he's a wonderful American. So it gave me great satisfaction to be a junior officer on Commander Meese's boat and then graduate myself as a prospective commanding officer going off to command the USS Oklahoma City, while Admiral Meese was the commander of the submarine force. And upon graduation, Admiral Meese presented each prospective commanding officer. It means you've done all the pipeline training, you're ready to go to your boat and take over and take the oath and assume that awesome responsibility. Well, Admiral Meese gave us each one of these little plaques. You can't read it from where you're at. I'm going to read it for you. On it, it says, "O God, thy sea is so great, and my ship is so small." Now, we were told that Admiral Rickover, who I just talked about, started this tradition for the first group of nuclear-trained submarine commanding officers. This little plaque is more than just a memento made of wood. It's a cautionary tale, young ladies and gentlemen. of the power of the sea that far exceeds the 165 megawatts of my boat's nuclear reactor when I was in command. The sea can generate a lot more power than that, and it's very dangerous. And these boats are out in the oceans all over the world. And while you're there, embarked on a deployment for 6 months or more in one of these boats, you're on your own. Nobody's going to be there to help you or to save you. You rely on your shipmates, your own ingenuity to operate the boat, complete the mission, and return home safely. So in the event of equipment failure, it's important to be able to fix yourself. All that said, one of the things that we kept in our retention of sailors kit on board the ship was the promise of good schools, just like this one here at ATDM. Because every sailor joins the Navy to see the world, but also to profit from a world-class education, especially in the nuclear Navy. In 1983, the most popular school on the waterfront for nuclear-trained electronic technicians was micro-miniature repair. Everybody wanted to go to it. We didn't have enough seats. It was a challenging course with a substantial attrition rate. The schoolhouse employed the best electronic technicians in the Navy as instructors whose mission it was to teach our sailors how to repair circuit boards in shipboard equipment. I can remember being at sea when a system failure occurred, whether it was in the nuclear propulsion plant electrical system, radio system, sonar room, or fire control system, and those sailors qualified to conduct micro-miniature repair went to work. First, they de-energized the equipment, commenced troubleshooting by opening up the system, half-split the circuitry to isolate the fault to a particular circuit card or a component, and then located appropriate parts to swap out capacitors, resistors, transistors, or diodes, soldered them back in to the circuit card, put it on a test bed to make sure you got a green light and it worked, then put it back in the equipment, and voila, you're back in business. And we don't even have a lot of capacitors, resistors, transistors, or diodes anymore. Everything's a chip. Everything's in a black box. So I saw our guys do this many, many times underway, performing critical missions to national security, where the alternative of going into port for repairs would have been a mission kill. That's not what we're paid to do. We're paid to stay at sea. So the bottom line is that the investment in micro-miniature repair and the schoolhouse yielded fantastic results, and it saved money. Let me explain the latter. What we do today amidst the digital transformation of hardware or software on our ships deployed at sea is completely different. So if we have a problem, we shut the equipment down for repair in a depot maintenance facility later on when we get back to shore. And typically, it's some black box on the ship. Black box that nobody really knows what's in it because we're not allowed to look in it. And a lot of times, those black boxes can be pulled out of a rack and a new one slotted back in and everything will work. But you have to have that black box in your supply system on board the boat. And as I told you, the dimensions, the boat's pretty small. You can't carry every part you need. This is particularly important for the Aegis combat system on our DDGs, the Arleigh Burke class destroyers, by the way, which did the majority of the work in the Red Sea shooting down Houthi missiles for the last 2 years. So we created something called a PUC, a pack-up kit. In that pack-up kit, there were several of these high failure rate parts, a lot of black boxes, but we didn't nail it 100%. There was always one or two that we missed in inventory and we didn't have on board the ship. So it was a big change when I got to the USS Oklahoma City as a commanding officer, having to deal with this digital revolution. I thought troubleshooting and repair meant you take the black box out, you break the seal, you open it up, you go inside, you find the failure, you fix it, you put it back in. My supply officer, who was accountable, as I was, for money, said, "Sir, don't do that. That's a $100,000, $200,000, $500,000 part. It's got a warranty and a turn-in price. If you break the seal, you void the warranty, and the Navy pays 2 to 3 times the amount of money we would pay if you just took it out and gave it back to them." That didn't do anything for me. I wasn't happy with that. But oftentimes, I gave in and we just returned to port. Now, graduates, if you think about that in the context of what you learned here at ATDM, things are changing for the better. We're no longer throwing in the towel by tagging out components or machinery and declaring Our systems are out of commission, OOC. We're actually manufacturing replacement parts right here in Danville and conducting repairs at sea. I'll give you an example. The trim and drain cord pipe, which you probably heard about, and I saw during Industry Day. It's a sub-safe certified pipe with a Venturi in it. And one of our boats, I think it was Nebraska, needed one of these, and the wait period to get it from a casting and forging facility was over a year. I want to say closer to a year and a half. But ATDM manufactured that cord in about a week and then machined it and then QA'd it, NDT'd it, and got it out to the fleet. That's absolutely amazing. And so I envision the day when there's a 3D printer on every warship in the fleet or in a flotilla nearby at sea operating in consort with those ships so that sailors will once again be empowered to fix their own equipment at sea and live on to fight another day. And you will be training the trainer. You who will be operating in the yards alongside our sailors will be able to show them how to do this. It's not just a readiness issue, it's a warfighting issue. Let's take a look at some of the recent statistics that illustrate the impact of your program here. As of December 12th, our 21st cohort at ATDM, students are on target to graduate in additive manufacturing, 11 of you, CNC machining, 29 of you, and non-destructive testing, 18 of you. You students are not just completing your training, but you're on a clear trajectory to a meaningful career. That means an enduring career path that can support a family, live that American dream. And you don't incur any debt like college graduates do nowadays who are looking for jobs, and there's a lot of them looking for jobs. You guys have about an 83%, 85% selection rate to go right to work with industry. And that's fantastic. And mom and dads are all nodding their heads out there. Yeah, this is great. ATDM will exceed 1,000 students trained with your class, I think. That's what I was told. And the goal is to get to 1,000 students a year because our demand signal to build these magnificent submarines and 1 Columbia, 2 Virginias, and now boats for Australia and AUKUS, you've read and heard about that, is 140,000 people just like you in 10 years. So we need 14,000 of you every year. So ATDM contributes to that. One of the important aspects of the student body here and in other classes and cohorts is the diverse demographic. About 19% are active duty military, reservists, or transitioning service members or veterans, highlighting our commitment to support those who serve our country and wish to transition into a civilian career. Furthermore, our reach here extends across 18 states. I won't read them for you, but they're all represented before you today. The bottom line is that manufacturing is a cornerstone of economic growth and innovation. President Trump highlighted this in his national security strategy that came out just last Friday. It's 33 pages. I commend it to all of you. I'm going to read you what he said about, quote, reviving our industrial base, unquote. America requires a national mobilization to innovate powerful defenses at low cost, to produce the most capable and modern systems and munitions at scale, and to reshore our defense industrial supply chains. In particular, we must provide our warfighters with the full range of capabilities, ranging from low-cost weapons with full range of capabilities to the most capable high-end systems necessary for a conflict with a sophisticated enemy. And I'm talking China. He didn't say that, I said that. I want to emphasize what we do is more than just training here. It's about opening up doors to fulfilling careers, supporting the economy, and strengthening our national security. ATDM graduates represent what my friend, our Chief of Naval Operations, fellow submariner Admiral Daryl Caudle calls the foundry in support of the fleet and the future fight. God forbid we ever have to do it. Some of the graduates here might be right out of high school or vocational training. Some may have some college training. Some may have military service under their belts, as I said. But all of you, every single one of you, should be considered as part of the broader national security apparatus of this great nation. So back to where I started. You guys are the silent servants of the silent service. You don't have to wear a uniform to serve the nation. You can contribute in many other ways, and being a part of the manufacturing sector of the United States in the shipbuilding industry is just one of them. It's going to all come together for you when you go out into the industrial base. Some of you will be working in yards. Some of you will be working in facilities affiliated with shipyards. And you're going to observe the commissioning, a big day, the first day that the ship, a U.S. warship, United States ship, USS, gets its assigned name. Just like today, everybody shows up, moms and pops and sailors and relatives and brothers and sisters and wives and kids. And as tradition would have it, upon commissioning by a senior officer, flag officer, or the Secretary of the Navy, who's usually at all of them, the ship is bestowed a title, like USS Sea Devil, USS Warship. The commanding officer is then at a podium. He turns to the crew and orders them to bring this ship to life. All of a sudden, you'll see the crew running on board the ship. You'll hear the whirring of turbines, motors, rotating and radiating on the ship's radar mast, blowing of the ship's whistle or foghorn, and testing all the navigation and searchlights. It is a magnificent sight to see for any and every American. And we should all take pride in the quality and the value that these platforms bring to our nation's defense. And you all are going to be a central part of it. So you should be very proud. Together, we can build a stronger, more skilled workforce for the future. And I thank you for your hard work, passing all your exams and being here today to get your diploma. I thank you for your time and attention. Keep charging, and God bless each and every one of you. Thanks. Thank you very much. Nice bag. Looks like that will hold a 6-pack of beer, and I'm actually going to the Army-Navy game tomorrow, so couldn't have come at a better time. I have a gift to return the favor. I want to leave a copy of our book, Returning from Ebb Tide. I'm going to give this to President Tucker. Belly, thank you very much. Thank you, sir. All right. Are we going to plumber now? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Quite the honor. Now it's my privilege to introduce to you our student speaker. I'd like to introduce to you Eli Knowles. Eli has shown exceptional dedication, perseverance, and growth throughout this program. Over the past 4 months, he has demonstrated not only technical skill, but strong character, leadership, and a genuine commitment to the people around him. His classmates know him as someone who works hard, encourages others, and brings positivity even on tough days. Today, Eli stands here as a representative of the hard work, determination, and heart that this graduating class embodies. And Miss Klein would kill me if I didn't mention he's an Alabama resident. So Team Eli over here. So if you would, please welcome Eli to the stage.
Wow, what an opportunity. I tell y'all that. Y'all bear with me if y'all can't understand me. I'm from Alabama, and I've been told I got an accent. And it took me about 10 weeks. Asked the guy one time, I was like, hey, man, how was your lunch? He said, hey, man, doing good. How are you? In my mind, I was like, that's not what I said, but I'm doing good. And that's when it hit me. So I walked up to one of my buddies, Ben, whatever he is. Yeah, walked up to Ben, and I was like, man, do y'all ever have a hard time understanding me? You don't believe what he said. What? All right, that just answered my question. And they all wondered why it took me so long to find that out. But first and foremost, is give thanks where it's due. I want to thank the good Lord for giving me the opportunity, bless me with the opportunity, and give me the strength to make it through these 4 months. It's been pretty long. Been pretty long. Before ATDM, I was attending Southern Union State Community College in Opelika, Alabama. That's where my instructor and good mentor, Al McCormick, first told me about ATDM and the opportunity it has to offer. I want to thank him and Miss Lindsay Klein for the effort to get me here. And I admit, I was hesitant at first, moving that far from home. I was pretty hesitant, but I sure am glad I took that step. And I want to thank all the instructors and technicians and staff and everyone else behind the scenes who puts in the effort to get students in here and out of this program with more confidence, knowledge, and skill than they came here with. Y'all didn't just teach us machining, manufacturing, and quality checks. You taught us discipline. You taught us patience. You taught us how to take pride in the work that we do. Thank you for the dedication and time that y'all invested in us. And to the mentors and family who shaped me into the person that I am today. Your guidance, encouragement, and support has carried me through more than y'all would know. Thank you to my classmates and friends for helping me when I needed it. Y'all made the lows easier and the highs a lot higher. From the Thursday Bible studies that we had and the meals that we've shared, and the late hours that we stayed after class, measuring that measuring block. Yeah, that was fun. I hated it. If it weren't for all of you, I wouldn't be standing here today giving a speech. I would probably be hunting right now. But it wasn't just the people around us that made this journey. It took effort from all of us. It took ambition. It took dedication. It took discipline. It took not giving up even when we wanted to. It took showing up with a good attitude, even when life outside of the school wasn't easy. Most of all, it took having a goal, something to work toward, something to look forward to, something to build a future on. Some of my best Danville memories were hanging out with my friends, going to the Martinsville race, even after about lap 10. Cedric was getting a little bored. But it was fun. It was really fun. Riding the Danville bikes around, even though they said that they was free, they weren't free. And getting a $5 burger on Tuesdays at the social, at least for the majority of the time I was there. Those simple moments made the time here unforgettable. These past 4 months taught us that manufacturing isn't just about programming or machining or quality checks. It's about taking raw material, whether it's metal or your own potential, and shaping it into something useful and something you can be proud of. It also taught us what machines are supposed to sound like and what machine means Z-stop. So today, as we graduate, we're not just celebrating the end of a program, we're celebrating the beginning of a new chapter. We're stepping into a field that needs skill-driven people, and we've proven that's exactly who we are to be. I lost my spot. I'm proud to share that I have accepted an offer with a company in the maritime industrial base, and we'll be starting after the new year. Thank you to everyone who helped us get here. Thank you to my classmates and the friends I made along the way. I'm grateful for this program, for changing the course of our lives and giving us opportunity. Congratulations to all of us, 25E. We made it.
Test. Okay. Good morning again. Didn't expect to see the snow coming like that, I'm sure. It is still snowing outside. It is my great honor and privilege to welcome you all again to the ATDM graduation celebration for cohort 25E. As I call the names of our graduates, I invite everyone to celebrate their achievements, not just the completion of a program, but the beginning of exciting careers and opportunities ahead. You'll notice there are a few names that I will call who are not present. This is because these individuals have started their journey early in the workforce and have begun their first day on the job just this week. Now, I would first like to introduce all of our instructors for cohort 25E. As I'll call your name, will you please stand? Additive manufacturing instructor, Daniel Heiler. And technician, Corey White. CNC machining instructor, first shift, Jim Hook. And technician, Jason Boyd. CNC machining second shift, instructor Bobby Moran. And technician, Zachary Hangelia. CNC machining instructor third shift, Christopher Chandler. Non-destructive testing instructor, Mr. Christopher Carter. And technician, Nathaniel Gillespie. I'm sure you all can attest to students that your instructors have worked countless hours to help you get to this point, and I'm sure you appreciate it. And I know that although the journey has ended, it is bittersweet, but definitely a great celebration. Now, what everyone has been waiting for, I'll begin to call the graduates. Instructors, when I call your name, will you please come to the stage? Additive manufacturing with Daniel Heiler and Corey White. Joseph Downer. Jonah Downer. Sorry. Douglas Drakely. Donovan Edwards. David Flannery. James Fury is not here, he is on the job, but let's please still clap for him. Manly Irish. Jack Moran III. Also not present, Dylan Ringer. Thomas Spear. And not present, Ronnie Vargas. Now CNC machining first shift led by Mr. Jim Hook and Jason Boyd. Cedric Bond. Ben Burton. Kevin Cox. Naheem Catino. Tyler Harris Mazzone. Jeffrey McGinney. Eli Knowles. Next up, CNC machining second shift led by Bobby Moran and Zachary Hangelia. Wyatt Estes. Edward Franklin. Buddy Holloway. Samuel Kabutta. Sean Kehoe. Austin McClellan. Diego Ramos Valandia. Corey Rakai. John Roy. Caleb Roy. Joe Vasquez. Next up, CNC machining third shift led by Christopher Chandler. Maureen Belko. Mario Benedetti. Derek Baruso. Jacob Drewer. Daniel Guerrero III. Andrew Keene. Lucas Keene. Mohammed Kawari. Jaron Later. Joseph Sartori. Andrew Wilson. And now our final group, non-destructive testing, led by instructor Christopher Carter and technician Nathaniel Gillespie. Jordan Atlow. Riley Blackham. Peyton Bradbury. Edmund Danielson. Roger D. Rosario. Caroline Doss. Nicole De Sousa. Devin Duke. James Etheridge. Brian Gonzalez. Fahim Hawk. Trey Marquardt. Xavier Robinson. Kaylee Santiago. Trevor Sines. Brody Travis. Nikel Williams. Jarvis Wilson. And last but certainly not the least, Alexander Zabosny. Let's give another round of applause for all of our graduates. Next, we'll hear closing remarks from our president, Mr. Telly Tucker.
Once again, thank you to all of you who have come out to support our graduates. And if our graduates, if you would please take a moment to turn around and thank your friends and family that have come here today. They've made a sacrifice so that you could be here. At the conclusion of the program, graduates, if you would please come to the stage for a photo. Family members, if you would like to take a photo after we have one group photo from our ILR communications team, you'll have an opportunity to also take photos of the group. We often talk about the skills that you learn here and how critical they are, how important they are, not only for your future, the future, hopefully, transformation that you will have for yourselves, your family, your children, and so forth. One of my friends and retired Marines would always say your proximity to the fight does not equate to your importance to the fight. You think about that because the work that you do, that you will do from this day forward, working in an industrial base, and the impact that it will have and the lives that it will change and hopefully save. They may be someone very dear to you or dear to me or dear to somebody in this room. And so not to put pressure on you, but it is important. And as our keynote speaker today, Admiral Fogo, said, we want to make sure we always do our best. There's one more person I want to acknowledge here before we finally conclude. It's our Board of Trustees Chair, Don Gibson. He's here today. Thank you, Don, for being here. And so it's at this time, on behalf of the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research Board of Trustees and my privilege to serve as the president, I now pronounce you graduates of the Accelerated Training and Defense Manufacturing Program. This officially concludes our program, graduates. If you would please